So let's talk about tennis. Today, we're going to dive into the incredible story of how this sport just completely reinvented itself. I mean, how did it go from this kind of niche, aristocratic hobby to a total powerhouse of global culture and business? It's a wild ride.
And really, it all boils down to this one big question. When you picture early tennis, what comes to mind? Probably like manicured lawns, right? Super exclusive country clubs, a world for a tiny, tiny slice of society. So you have to ask, how did a sport for the few end up becoming a game for the entire world? That's the puzzle we're going to unpack. How a simple racket and a ball could literally take over the planet.
All right, so let's start with this transformation, from those quiet clubs to these absolutely roaring global stadiums. The difference between the tennis of yesterday and the tennis of today, it is just staggering. And believe me, it did not happen by accident.
Okay, so this timeline really helps put it all in perspective. For almost 100 years, tennis was basically owned by just a few countries. But then, 1968, that was the big one, the Open era. That's when they finally allowed professionals to compete, and bam, it turned the sport from a hobby into a real career. And from that point on, the growth just exploded. Which brings us to today, where you look at a Grand Slam draw and it's literally a world map of the best athletes on the planet.
And look at this. This chart just shows you that change in black and white. Back in 1984, if you looked at the top 50 players, they were pretty much all from North America and Western Europe. Now, you fast forward to today, and it's a completely different world. You've got this massive influx of talent from Eastern Europe, South America, Asia, Africa. This isn't just growth, folks. It's a total global redistribution of talent. It's incredible.
So how in the world did that happen? Well, you know the old saying, follow the money. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to look at the business behind the ball, the economic engine that just supercharged this whole global expansion.
It really was this powerful, self-reinforcing cycle. You could call it a globalization flywheel. Okay, so here's how it worked. First, you get the Pro Tours, the ATP and WTA, creating this unified global circuit. Then, with a product to sell, you get these massive global media rights deals. Naturally, huge brands, think Nike, Rolex, they see the giant audience and jump in with sponsorship money. And where does all that cash go? Well, it fuels enormous prize money, which of course attracts the best athletes from every corner of the globe. See? Each step just feeds the next.
And I'm not kidding when I say massive prize money. Just look at this number. Over $65 million. And get this, that's the prize money for a single 2-week tournament, the US Open. When you put that kind of money on the table, it completely changes the game. It changes who decides to pick up a racket and why. It becomes this incredibly powerful magnet for talent, no matter where you're from.
Okay, but money alone doesn't create champions, right? You need a system, a pipeline, to actually develop all that raw talent. So that's what we're looking at next, how the entire path to becoming a pro was just completely torn down and rebuilt for this new global era.
And the shift is, well, it's night and day. The old way, it was all local. You'd go through your national federation, your local country club. But the new path, it's completely borderless. Now a kid from Serbia or Japan might move to a high-tech academy in Florida or Spain when they're just 12 years old, already competing on a global junior circuit. It's a whole different ballgame.
And of course, this whole global system was really paved by some absolute trailblazers. We're not just talking about great players. These were catalysts for change. You had Arthur Ashe, who broke down huge racial barriers. Bjorn Borg, who basically became a rock star and made tennis cool across Europe. And more recently, you've got Li Na. Her Grand Slam win single-handedly ignited tennis in China. And now, Ons Jabeur is doing the same thing for North Africa and the Arab world. What did they all prove? That a champion can come from anywhere.
So you've got the money, you've got the talent pipeline. What was the next great amplifier? Technology, of course. The challenge was, how do you connect all these global players in tournaments to a massive global fan base? Well, welcome to the digital tennis court.
Yeah, this quote just nails it. Think about it. It used to be you just watched a match on TV and that was it. End of story. But now, fans are part of this non-stop global conversation. They're connected 24/7, not just to each other, but directly to the athletes. It's like a virtual stadium that literally never closes.
And that connection happens in so many ways. Yeah, live TV is still a huge piece of the pie, but it's just one slice.
Now, fans are engaging through streaming services all over social media, watching highlights on their phones, even playing tennis video games. This whole multi-platform world means you can be the biggest, most die-hard fan in Tokyo or Cairo and never have to step foot in Wimbledon to feel like you're part of the action.
And all of this global reach, it brings us to our final and maybe most interesting point. Because of all this, tennis has become way more than just a game. It's now a huge driver of global culture, of fashion, of social conversation.
What we're really talking about is this idea of the athlete as influencer. And the top tennis players today, they are the perfect example. Their power isn't just in their backhand or their serve, it's in their brand. They can start fashion trends, they can lead really important social conversations, and they can be the face of global companies in a way that goes way beyond the court.
And you can see that evolution so clearly here. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, influence was all about what happened on the court, the rivalries, the style, think McEnroe and Borg. Then you get to the 90s and 2000s, and players like Andre Agassi and, of course, Serena and Venus Williams, they become true global celebrities. But today, it's another level. Athletes like Roger Federer and Naomi Osaka are full-blown, multi-platform brands. They have foundations, fashion lines, and they use their voices to talk about major social issues.
So, when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway? It's that there wasn't just one magic bullet. The globalization of tennis was a perfect storm, really. It was these four huge forces all hitting at once: professionalism, a ton of money, global media, and a system for finding talent anywhere in the world.
So there you have it. The sport absolutely conquered the globe. Which leaves us with one last, really interesting question to think about. Okay, tennis is globalized. Now what? What are the next big challenges, the next big opportunities? What does the future really hold for what you could now call the world's game?